Hi, remember me? I said I was gonna do monthly vlogs like 3 months ago? Yeah. 2020, am I right? Alright, wait, we're in 21? Look, I'm a gig worker. I have bills to pay. I gotta do what I gotta do to make money, alright? So I ain't apologizing for it. Anyways, I do have something to share with you today, actually, because I have a little bit of time to do these videos. What I want to talk to you about today is this thing. What is this thing indeed? This is a open source video converter. That's right, made by Mike Chi. VGA2NTSC, based on the 11C Mike Chi 2020 RetroTink license JNF Tech. Revised board layout, JNF Tech. Yep. Anyways, it's an open source video converter that I made myself. Now in my last few videos I got some feedback that maybe my audience doesn't know what I'm talking about specifically at the time. So here's what we're gonna do to fix that. I'm gonna sort of over-explain some things, alright? An open source project is a project that somebody puts on the internet because they want to share it with a community. So Mr. Mike Chi put these plans on the internet, shared it with the world, and JNF Tech took those plans and revised them into what you see today. Open source, sharing information, awesome. So what exactly is this? What type of video does it convert, and to what video does it convert? Well, let me go over that right now. So the original intent of this open source project is to convert VGA signal to NTSC. What VGA is, without going too deep into all these shenanigans, is that it is a type of analog video. It's a very high quality type of analog video. VGA is what you would usually use in the mid-2000s for a computer monitor. And it converts it into an NTSC signal. Now, NTSC is a very broad term. Basically, this is a type of video that is standard to North America and some other regions. This includes the infamous yellow cable that you plugged basically any video signal into on your TVs in the 90s. What it also includes is something called S-video and RGB. S-video is a type of video signal that's slightly better than that yellow cable, and RGB is a type of video signal that is even better than that. To super simplify it, it takes a very high quality video and converts it into something a normal TV can understand. Or at least some of these older model TVs that I like to play with. Now, because of the community, I know this thing works the way it's intended to. Mike Chi is a very talented engineer and he knows what he's doing. What I'm interested in is seeing if this can fit my very niche purposes. So what I want to do is I want to convert this RGB signal that comes from this monitor into something my other TV can understand. Why would I want to do this? So when I'm streaming, I can play here or I can play here. Get it? Look, it doesn't matter, I just want to do it, okay? Get off my back. Now, when I started this project, it looked like this, with a bare PCB and nothing on it. So yeah, I had to take this bare PCB and solder each one of these little baby parts in there. And it was something. It was painstaking, let me tell you, but it was also kind of fun. So I soldered each and every individual little part onto that board myself. Can we roll the footage of that? Can we get the footage? The footage? I'm just kidding, nobody's here. I don't have any friends. Alright. I just want to point out how incredibly small these components are, and they aren't even as small as they get. For real, look at these things. Ooh, it took a lot of fine motor skills. This being said, once I got used to the size, it wasn't that bad. I just used the tweezers to secure the piece, tacked in one side so it would move around, and then finish it off. Something that I have neglected to mention up until now is that we are in the middle of a global part shortage when it comes to semiconductors, which means that companies that make these components are having trouble producing them fast enough to get the demand met. So either they're very expensive or totally out of stock most places. For the most part, I didn't have much problem finding these parts on sites like DigiKey, but there was one fuse I had to get from eBay for like $1 instead of 20 cents, so it wasn't that big a deal. You'll also notice as the video plays on that I left the RGB connector unpopulated. This is partially because I had to source them from another website and it hadn't arrived in time, and partially because I'm not planning on using it yet, so I didn't need to install it. So full disclosure here, I'm taking this open source video converter and making it do something that it's not entirely intended to do. This thing is not really meant to be a catch-all solution for any sort of signal you want to feed into it. It's actually very picky about the signal. It is meant for a VGA signal, and it also happens to take RGBS. Now, RGBS is sort of shorthand for a red, green, blue signal that includes an additional synchronization line. The synchronization line keeps the signal from wobbling all about while you're playing a game or whatever. When I feed a sync signal into this converter, it needs to be a clean sync signal. That means nothing else can be on that signal. And it's very picky about that sync signal, so if you don't have the right cables, it's not gonna work. Sorry, this might be a little technical, but if you look at the post about the converter, the link is in the description, it's pretty clear that this was meant for the MR project.
which is in essence an open source retro console with VGA connector that accurately plays a bunch of different consoles. This is also why the converter doesn't accept anything but clean 75 ohm C-Sync. PlayStation owners beware, I had to install a sync stripper in my cables, and I also had to rewire my Saturn cables because they were wired for sync on composite. That being said, once all my consoles had the same type of C-Sync, everything but the Genesis worked perfectly well, including my RGB modded NES.
But now, everything works, except for one. Ow. Look at it. I'm so cool. Look at me in my tall little cartridge. My Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic 3 and Knuckles cartridge. Ooh, I'm so cool. When I plugged the Sega Genesis into this converter, something very interesting happened. I plugged that bad boy in expecting to see a bright blue hedgehog, and I got a red one. I wanted the blue one. So yeah, Sonic is red. And for everyone interested in seeing a cool project that I worked on, the video's over. But if you're a super nerd like me and you want to know why Sonic was red, stay tuned. Basically, I did some digging on YouTube and I found this guy, Sega Sonic Fan. He had discovered that when you run the Genesis signal through a certain video chip, the 8725, the colors get really weird. Guess which video chip is running this converter? So what's the solution to this? Well, back to Sega Sonic Fan, that YouTuber I mentioned. He's developed a little circuit that you can install in your Genesis to bring the sync signals back into spec with what this chip expects. And before anyone's like, well, the converter just doesn't work right. No. This was intended to take a VGA signal and output it into something old TVs can understand. And for that, it works perfectly fine. It's just a really cool little open source project. I'm really thankful to Mike Chi and JNF Tech for opening up their open source projects to hobbyists like me. Because making stuff is so much more fun than buying stuff. Oh, before I go, if you're interested in learning about analog video signals or whatever, I've included a video in the description by My Life in Gaming. Super informative, check it out. Also, if you're interested in playing your old video game systems on your modern TVs, check out Mike Chi's website, retrotink.com. And that's all I got. I still don't know how to close out these videos. You hang up first.